Well, I studied philosophy and religion at university years ago, and I'm best known for writing a popularization of the teachings of Epictetus that was published, gosh, it's almost 30 years ago. But it's continued to be an international bestseller. It's translated into lots of different languages. I get some gas about it from scholars because, well, it's a popularization, and popularizers are the people that scholars love to hate. But I feel very strongly that if there are good ideas to help us get through the day nobly, decently, that they should be readily available to people, and that simple expressions of great ideas can act as invitations for a deeper immersion in, say, original text.
I couldn't agree more. So I guess really quick, for those who are new to it, what is Stoicism?
Stoicism is an ancient philosophy founded by Zeno, of Sitchin. And it was then carried on by Cleanthes and Chrysippus, and the kind of the all-star hitters that we most hear about are Epictetus, who was born a slave, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, and Seneca, the politician. And so it's a philosophy of, I guess you could say, emotional management, not repression, but it does elevate reason over the emotions. It recognizes that emotions are a necessary spice of life, that they're endemic to the human condition. But it gives us a way to, I mean, in modern parlance, not have our emotions yank us around so much, so that we can elevate our character and point our compasses toward virtue. It's these days, there are many dimensions to Stoic philosophy, but the part that's most popular now is the ethical dimension, and for good reason.
And so what excites you about Stoicism?
Well, I've got to parrot what you said earlier, Christopher, which is it's practical. It's something that I can rely on in the moment. Let me back up a little bit. As we traverse our day, we encounter so many different, what you might call moral quandaries. Some are micro, some are macro. And we need help to figure out what is the best solution in this particular moment. And I just find the basic ideas of Stoicism to be very helpful with managing those micro moments. They help me to remember the better part of my nature.
So one of the things that I've heard you mention is saving philosophy from the philosophers.
Yes.
So what about Stoicism needs saving? What's being overlooked by the academics?
Well, I could say a couple of things, and I come in peace. First of
Of
all,
course, we all love the
yeah,
academics. They're fantastic. We wouldn't have Stoic philosophy without them. But
right.
what's maybe being overlooked?
Well, one of the things that I care about a lot is the Stoic conception of virtue, which is seen as one thing that's unified, though it embraces these four cardinal virtues: courage, temperance, wisdom, justice. And I think those are terrific, but I see them as being self ultimately self-referential. And although an academic could argue that, say, kindness is embraced by justice, I just think we have to work too hard to disinter kindness from, say, justice. And that in our modern world, there is so much to have anxiety and fear about. We live in such destabilized times. I mean, pick your poison: climate change, political instability, of course, the pandemic. That I think if we don't operate as a we, in other words, in recognizing that the primary place where we live is in relationship, not in texts. Nobody lives in a text. And we have to get along with one another. I mean, no one needs convincing of this. We have to care about one another. And I just think that I've just made up my four counterpart. I just decided to renovate modern Stoicism, and
Hey,
I came up with
Epictetus didn't just say what people had said before him either.
right. And actually, I think one of the reasons why people cotton to Stoicism is it is not a stagnant, literalistic, impermeable way of looking at the world. That as you say, it has evolved, and it's really. I think of Stoicism as less of a philosophy, but more of a conversation that's going on across many generations and geographies and circumstance. But anyway, I came up with four counterpart virtues that I think we would be well to heed. And I call them nurturance, liberality, kindness, and altruism. And they all point towards this we ideal that I think is so important.
And so how does kindness differ from altruism?
Well, I think of kindness as the act of being out in the world and like literally smiling, and it even embraces good manners. I think of it as the doings of goodness, whereas, say, altruism is more like whether you're in the mood or not, you take care of other people and you recognize their hardships and you feel you feel their pain and you actually do something about it.
So kindness more as a state of being and altruism as like a duty to others.
Yes, I think it's fair to say that.
Gotcha.
And mind you, these are all on the drawing board. So if you can
Sure.
augment them, please have at it.
So why would Stoicism or it's kind of strange because Stoicism is kind of being remade in modern Stoicism, right?
Oh, yes.
So like what part might modern Stoicism play in our society right now?
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit there. Can you?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have that one more time.
Sure. What part might modern Stoicism play in our society?
I think because people are attracted to it, in some part because in North America anyway, a lot of people are disaffected with religious institutions. A lot of people want some kind of systematic moral theory that they can depend on in order to face their days, face other people, face their lives. Because Stoicism is accessible and because it doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, fairy tales that go with it. It's very straightforward. It's as I like to say sometimes, if I had to summarize what Stoicism is, it's just do what works and quit doing what doesn't. So I think we can all benefit from an accessible moral theory that can be brought into everyday life.
Now, as it is a moral theory, is it dangerous? Now, I saw an article from Vice magazine talking about how Stoicism might be being used by the far right. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but you get your clicks from it anyway. Do you see it as inherently dangerous as a moral philosophy?
I see people as dangerous. People are either good or they're dangerous, and they will build all kinds of scaffolding to defend whatever they're trying to do. And if they do evil things, I don't want to be overly simplistic, but I think that comes from old wounds, and it's not inbuilt into Stoicism or into anything for that matter.
What would you recommend to somebody who is just looking into Stoicism for the first time?
I would say curl up with a copy of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and don't try to figure it out. Just read the beautiful prose. Sit beside this man who was grappling with himself, who was trying to do the best he could under very dire circumstances, and see if you don't see some of your own life in his struggles. I think he's Stoicism 101.
I agree. It's funny, though, that you wouldn't recommend Epictetus.
Yeah, I would say he's number two. I mean, Epictetus happened to sing my song, but I think that Marcus is more universal, and I'm not sure I can defend that position, but that's what I think.
I think you're right. I think it's more accessible, easier to get into, and Epictetus is brash and harsh and and hilarious. Exactly. Like,
yes.
I love it, but I can understand like tiptoeing in with Marcus Aurelius. That makes sense. Why? I guess we kind of touched on it, but why do you think Stoicism is seeing a revival? I guess, is it seeing a revival? I think that's pretty clear, but why do you think it's seeing a revival?
Again, I don't have a definitive answer that satisfies me, and I've given this a lot of thought because, to be honest, it's kind of mystifying to me. But at the same time, I think ideas kind of emerge as trends. And in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was kind of all about Eastern religions. People were just discovering, a new American Buddhism was forming in this continent. And people were interested in Taoism. They were searching. And people, I think, are always searching. I think at this point, we are so spiritually fatigued, but for a lot of people, the churches and the mosques and the synagogues are somehow not working for a lot of people. They're working now, mind you, I'm actually an observant Jew, but I also practice Stoicism. I don't have a problem with that. But I think some people just want the straight shooting truth about how to be a good person. And I think the will towards virtue, towards being our best, is inside all of us. And I just think it's part of human nature. So I think people are nervous these days, and they need something to hold on to. And Stoicism is very intellectually satisfying as well as emotionally satisfying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where do you see this going? Well, I mean, it's wild that like Stoicon's happening.
I could say some. Yeah.
Yeah, where do you see it going?
I'm going to be really honest. I don't know. I could say something glib, but my Stoicism enjoins me to be honest with you. And I have no idea, because I honestly am so surprised that it's gained as much traction as it has, because it puts a demand on you. And you know how human beings are. I mean, a lot of us are just looking for the next big fun or the next big easy. And if you're really going to do Stoicism, you're going to have to do some deep soul searching, and you have to be honest with yourself, and you got to change. You got to change. That's the stinker. So I don't know, maybe people's souls are becoming more strenuous in their reaching for goodness. I don't know, Christopher. What do you think?
I have no idea. I know what I hope. I hope that the impulse that is leading towards a rise in interest in Stoic philosophy merges with the science behind cognitive behavior therapy and things like that, and what's the positive psychology, and secular Buddhism as well. Like they've got some great stuff going on with the mind as well. And so I hope all of this merges with scientific recognition into a really accessible philosophy of life that people can use to have a clearer idea of what they should and shouldn't be doing to live in harmony with each other and with the environment and with everyone else. Wouldn't that be amazing? I'm just hoping for absolute utopia on Earth.
I'm following you. I'll have what he's having.
It would be great. It would be great.
It would be good.
But I think that we're seeing like some of the rumblings of it. I think that when you look at what's behind Stoicism and the simple understanding that there are real ways in which we can live better. There are, like, it's not made up, it's discovered, right? Which is something that you know, it's really hard for people to believe that any philosophy is not made up, that it's actually a discovery, you know, or even psychology or anything like that. Just that when it comes to the mind, we kind of feel that we're making it up as we go along rather than discovering what's actually there. And I think if we can find a way to get science behind it and say, no, 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 they're actually discovering what's actually there. And life is actually better when you, you know, when you act courageously and virtuously and kindly, altruistically, etc. And we're starting to see some studies that show that. If we,
Yes.
you know, if we can get that scientifically, if we can get that foundation laid, then people can kind of stop being closet altruists and you know, stop having closet kindness and actually be okay with it, wear it on their sleeves.
That's beautiful. Yes. Because it seems like what's implied in what you're saying is that virtue or the reaching for goodness may actually be coming back in style, or it might, and you know, that sounds like I'm trying to be cute or something, but I'm not. It's our ideals over the past many decades have been, you know, the ideal person is seen as an amazing athlete or a celebrity, but the idea of someone just being not even a hero, but just a surpassingly decent person, and not laughing ironically about that, but fully owning that as, yeah, when I grow up, I want to be a good person.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a great goal?
Wouldn't that be? Yeah.
What do you
That's
want
the
to be
world
when
I
you grow
want to
up?
live in, for sure.
Decent.
Yes, right. I mean, it sounds like we've lowered the bar, but we haven't.
No, it's a significant step up from being rich
Oh,
or
God.
famous or anything like that. That doesn't make you decent.
Right, right. So I like to think that maybe we're at a pivot point where people are starting to see the kind of the superficiality of the, you know, sort of in some sense, the idols, you know, if we've embraced, and how they're just not that great. They really aren't. I mean, they're good as far as they go, but they're not the thing.